In our previous video, we looked at how to find the equation of perpendicular and parallel lines to both horizontal and vertical lines. But in this video, we're going to get a little more complicated and find the equation parallel and perpendicular to lines that are not horizontal and vertical. We follow the same 4 steps we've discussed in previous videos. And in this case, we still begin with point slope form. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. In this problem, we're trying to find the equation of a line parallel to this line. Well, we know if lines are parallel, they have the same slope. So we need to determine the slope of this line. It's in standard form, and from our previous videos, we know that the slope in standard form is negative a over b, which in this case would be negative 3 over 5. And our step 2 in finding the equation is to plug in the slope. Well, in this case, since they're parallel, we know the slope will be the same. Step 3 is to plug in a point. Well, this information tells us that this line that is parallel passes through the point negative 2, 1. So we plug in 1 for y, and we will plug in negative 2 for x. As we simplify, this becomes plus a positive. We have y minus 1 equals negative 3/5 x minus 6/5. But they tell us that they want it in slope-intercept form, which we need to solve for y. So I'm going to add 1 to both sides. Please note that 1 is equivalent to 5/5 because we have to have like denominators, which leaves me with y equals negative 3/5 x minus 1/5. This line is parallel to this line. They have the same slope. If we're looking to find the equation of a perpendicular line, we're going to follow the same procedure. Begin with point slope, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And step 2 is to find the slope. Well, we have a line passing through these 2 points, and we want this equation to be perpendicular to it. So the first thing we have to do is find the slope of this line. In order to do that, we're going to use our formula. We'll have y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which leaves us with negative 2 over 5. And if you remember from our last video, the slope of the perpendicular line will be the negative reciprocal. Well, when we take the negative reciprocal, we end up with 2 negatives, which leaves us with a positive slope. We plug that in, y minus y1 equals 5/2 times x minus x1. And then they want the equation of any line that is perpendicular. So as long as the line has this slope, we don't necessarily care which of these points it passes through. I'm going to choose to use the point negative 1, 3. So I have y minus 3 equals 5/2 times x minus negative 1. As I simplify, I have y minus 3 equals 5/2 x plus 5/2. But it's asked to be in standard form, so I need to get x and y together. I'm going to subtract my 5/2 x. So I have negative 5/2 x plus y minus 3 equals 5/2. I add 3 to both sides, and 3 is equivalent to 6/2, so that I have like denominators. So I have negative 5/2 x plus y equals 11/2. But to be in standard form, it's standard for us to get rid of those fractions. So I'm going to multiply everything by 2 to cancel the denominators. And in standard form, I end up with negative 5x, because notice these 2's cancel, plus 2y equals 11.